We're here with Bernie Filoni from Fastcan International and Sean Hallett from Edge Tree Service. How are you guys?
I'm good, thank you.
We wanted to stop and talk with you too a little bit about the entry into the tree care industry with the new 600 SE. Well, not new anymore. Sean, you've had it now for 3 years. The 600 SE Tree Max. It's a grapple saw built on the 600 SE platform. So Bernie, I wanted to start with you and kind of get a little bit of background, kind of how the 600 SE evolved and what makes that really a good decision to use for a grapple saw crane.
The 600 SE is the longest of the wallboard line that Fosse makes. And the cranes were designed and built specifically for the U.S. wallboard industry, which is one of the toughest industries an articulated crane can be in. We didn't even know about the tree care industry, but because of its design for the wallboard industry, where it's tested at extreme number of cycles at the factory, I'm talking about the prototype, and at 100% load, the crane design structure has proven to be very beneficial for the tree care industry as well. It's the 600 SE, as I said, is the largest. The prototype on it was 600,000 cycles tested with strain gauge and brittle paint analysis. And the advantage that we have found, or I perceive, and Sean is really because he's used it, are that the last section, the cross section of that last tip section is so much larger than what you have in a regular nothing boil or the Jekko behind me, which is a Fosse articulated crane on a crawler, and you have higher capacity. That 600 SE has supposed to be 3,600 pounds up there, but it probably has been tested to more than that.
Yep.
As it usually is in the industry. But the other advantage of the SE line is that because of the design of the crane and how it was built for the wallboard, which is to have that fork and rotator live, with this crane, the saw is live on the when it is working, as opposed to, again, back to these articulated cranes here in the U.S., and it doesn't matter on the manufacturer. The economic way of operating the saw is to divert the oil from the jib to the saw, back and forth, which makes for a very choppy function of cutting a tree. When I'm going to let Sean talk about that as far as how it worked. But the wallboard crane gives you it's faster with only 4 sections versus 12 to 14. And the way the crane is built, you get it out there, it's now like an arm with an elbow, as opposed to have to scope in and out all the time. That's the background and advantage that I perceive on the wallboard crane, but I turn it over to John, who's actually used it, tested it. He was the guinea pig. He'll even tell you.
So, Sean, you've had your crane now, like as Bernie said, about 3 years. You were the first person to have the 600 SE. Tell us a little bit about, what was your thought process when you decided to look for a grapple saw crane and things you were looking for? What was important to you, and kind of how did that whole process go?
So, me being a tree service owner, my big focus, as everybody else, is safety, being able to get a reliable machine on the job that's not down or breaking or problems all the time, and getting a job done fast and efficiently. I would say the simple thing to tree work, the quicker you can put trees on the ground safely, the more money you can make per day. When I first knew I wanted to get into grapple sawing, I went out and looked at everything I could. I went to every manufacturer, I checked everything. I had demos, I looked at everything I could find. And at the end of the day, I didn't find what I was looking for that would do the job I wanted. At the end of the day, I wanted a job where I could get a tree down safely, productively, and quickly. And nothing was there. I called around, I had found the FASI 390 wallboard crane, which was the largest, quickest unit I could find to do tree work with, and I saw the advantages of that. I spent a lot of time calling around and talking to multiple different dealers and trying to see who was interested in building what I wanted. I came across Jeff at Crane Specialist, and he was the first one that really liked the idea. Over some conversation, we found and started talking about the FASI 600 SE. After seeing the size of it and having 115 feet of reach, the structure of it, I was really in on the whole idea of building something that had never been done, to do something that nobody else really seemed interested in at the time. I seemed like I was the only one, or felt like I was the only one that was looking for a high production grapple saw truck. After a full lot of thought and effort and images and work at figuring out this truck, a year later we brought it to life as what is now the 600 SE Tree Max. The structure of the boom was significantly stronger and more rigid for working with trees, which makes it nice. Not having to deal with a giant fishing pole in the trees lets you grab pieces, maneuver them quicker, get stuff to the ground better. It lets you hold the grapple better and more control. I was really focused on, I've always been super on my point with numbers. I was really focused on my tree to ground and tree to chipper and the time it takes from the tree to processed to get the job done. For me, it was a lot quicker to get the positioning of the 600 with the lengths of the booms, the length of the jibs, to have the right proportion that typically took you from the tree to the ground the quickest. You typically have more substantial jib than you do main boom in comparison to a cable, a knuckle boom truck. A knuckle boom truck, you don't end up running a lot of jib out because the last extensions of the jib, you can barely build up the grapple with the weight in most configurations. So you can't take your weight and get it to the ground. Where the 600 SE, you can take your grapple, your weight, your wood with a full jib and get to the ground without having to constantly retract all of your main boom to get at the ground. It significantly speeds stuff up. A huge portion of what speeds this truck up is how quick it is to set up. You can be on the job site, set up, grapple in the air in roughly 3 minutes without rushing. The grapple is always attached to the crane. It doesn't get removed unless you need to switch grapples or switch to slings or a crane hook. So every job that you move, the grapple stays attached to the truck and holds up on the truck with the crane. When you're going to 5-6 jobs a day, or you're moving 3 or 4 times on the same job site, that is a huge advantage to not have to pin and unpin the grapple every time. One of the big portions of taking the 600 SE and making it into a tree care truck was shortening the truck down as much as possible. The typical fashion of the way the boom's stored with the boom folded underneath and the grapple staying on the truck hadn't ever been done before. It was something that took a lot of work and effort to make work properly. That was able to drastically reduce the overall length, the overall wheelbase, and the maneuverability of the truck, letting me get it in significantly more places. I have no problem getting that truck into driveways, into yards, and the craziest, tightest neighborhood, and even roads that are only a lane and a half wide. It's a big truck with a little bit of creativity. You can still get in at the tightest spots. One of the big things with the 600 SE, it is computerized where it needs to be. There are safeties in place that you have to have the outriggers out and down and touching the ground. Now, when you have the ability to, you want your outriggers out or stabilizers out as far as possible at full span. When you can't, when you have a house in the way, you have a fence in the way, you have many options of reducing your outrigger stand some or fully, and the computer will automatically deduct your capacities for you. It's not something you have to worry about. If you have outriggers retracted on one side of your truck, and you can still have full capacity on your other side of the truck working. If you lose track to what you're doing and you're not paying attention and you make a mistake and you go to rotate over your outriggers that aren't extended, the computer will automatically stop you in a safe zone. That is one thing that was huge to me because I often work on a daily basis with my outriggers retracted on one side when I'm working street side, or I'm up against the house with the outriggers retracted. And everybody knows the job site gets crazy every once in a while. You're worrying about other things on your job site as the crane operator. And it's not an impossible thing to lose track of where you are and rotate over 10 degrees too far out of a zone you're supposed to be in. So have the safety backup of knowing that your crane's going to stop you when it needs to and keep you in a safe zone is a huge part of safety with the fast cranes.
You've had the crane now for 3 years. You've been able to obviously operate it, run it, find everything out about it. Has it met your expectations as far as what you were looking to get out of it? Is it as fast as you wanted it to be? Does it actually do the work you were expecting it to do?
So after 3 years, along the way, there's been some minor modifications that have been incorporated in any of the newer production trucks that are being built for a 600 SE. There was a little bit of learning curve along the way, a whole lot of operating learning curve for me. At the end of the day, the crane has absolutely blown away any expectations I ever had. We had expectations to be better grapple sawing. We didn't expect it to completely change the company. It has absolutely changed every aspect of what we do, how we do it, and how safe we can do it. In every way, we've had to reorganize how we do stuff in a better way. A big portion that has been critical for us is we're 3 years into running this truck on a daily basis now. This truck has never had a single day of downtime. It has been absolutely reliable the entire time.
Okay, and to finish up with you, Bernie, has the 600 achieved what you were hoping with a build like this, and do you see that as something that's really going to move forward into the future?
I am surprised at the success, and a lot of it has been because of what Sean has done and being here and talking to prospective people their own way. You can talk their way. I can talk to you about the crane anytime, but I will tell you it has exceeded my expectations in the tree care industry. It was designed, as I said earlier, as a wallboard crane, and it's got a newer, bigger life in the tree care industry. Sean mentioned it's been reliable for him. It was designed to be durable because, again, it's all those test cycles. It's designed to be that. I'm looking forward to many of these 600 SEs getting out there. The more they get out there, I think that people with knuckle booms and stick brooms are going to start paying attention, and I am excited about selling a lot more.
Excellent. Oh, thank you, guys. And again, this is Bernie Filoni from Fastcan International and Sean Hallett from Ed's Tree Service. Thank you.
You're welcome.